that Patanjali, the master, is very kind and humble. He says, "Oh, you cannot do this practice. Here is another way. Oh, you cannot do the second. Here is the third way, fourth way, fifth." And he continues because he gives the practice so that everyone can attain that highest state of meditation. The highest state of meditation means we discover, we realize, we know, and we experience that that real self is self existent. What is the meaning of self existent? Like sun not only gives light to every object, but it also gives light to itself. I don't need a candle to see the sun. That is the meaning of self-existent. It does not, no, it means it does not depend on anything. I looking at you, I am, but mind is not there supporting the eyes. I cannot look. Even looking does not mean anything. So second part comes that real self is self-luminous like the sun. Third, it is all pervading. Fourth, it is of the nature of permanent happiness, love, wisdom. So, what prevents me not to have it? The mind prevents me. Mind prevents me, blocks me that knowledge. So, what should be done? So, Patanjali, the master says, Tapah Swadhyaya Ishwar Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. So there is a lot of popular notion and misconception about Kriya Yoga. People say I have mystical experiences, out of body. If you go out of the body, then you don't live. You are not alive. So we talk in a very popular notion. So these popular notions are cleared. Patanjali removes the doubt. So he says there are three factors in Kriya Yoga: Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhanani. So first factor is says discipline and education of the mind. I look at something, I get carried away, and then I have an attachment, a pleasure seeking, or I get anxious, both ways. So that mind should be disciplined and educated. No, there is nothing in the world that can cause any fear, any anxiety, any pleasure. So this is what is known as tapa. Literal meaning of tapa is known as austerity, penance, but real meaning is how to discipline and educate the mind constantly living in this world. So that keeps the mind steady. Second is swadhyaya. Literal meaning of swadhyaya is self-study. So I study physics. What is physics? A branch of the science by which I know the material world and its principles, but it is outside. Chemistry outside, biology outside. No, biology is inside. No, we bring everything outside. We bring the heart outside to understand it. So, what is self study here? Self study to study myself, self study to know myself. Self study means that now I become aware, oh, this thought is causing the problem. So, goodbye to the thought. Thought is different from me. Look at it. So it demands a constant awareness, vigilance about what the mind is doing, and check that the mind should not work on me, but I should work on the mind. Self study. This is one meaning. Second meaning is that if we do not study these principles, the mind continues to remain outside, wander and distract, carried away by the thoughts, feeling, emotions, objects, and takes our mind to a journey of anxiety, duality, conflict, pain, insecurity, limitedness. So this is the second is very important. So a regular study of the principles of Eastern wisdom, and after studying those principles, applying that principles on the mind so that the mind starts returning to the real self. Third, so three practices. Third one is known as Ishwar Pranidhanani. So Ishwar means just take it as a real self. So can I, we imagine also what we imagine that I have $1 billion, and then $1 billion I bought a mansion and I continue my mind. Suddenly the thought comes, now all the $1 billion is lost. I am suffering. The stress comes. So here it is not the way. Now, if you meditate on the real self with a meaning, oh, the real self is self luminous, it does not depend on anything. So you see that we use that imagination to meditate on the real self, or simply meditate on the infinite space, meditate on the permanent happiness and the joy. So that helps the mind to drop its insecurities and the fear, anxiety, and the mind is absorbed inside. So, all the three groups of practices is known as Kriya Yoga. Kriya means action. Action means I do the practice regularly and daily. This is what is Kriya Yoga. In our country, there is a very lot of misconceptions about Kriya Yoga. They talk about lot of kundalini practice, breathing. It is not required. We have to check it where we stand and what needs to be done. Now, see, Patanjali says if we are discontinue with the three set of practices during the day means I discipline and educate the mind. Oh, I see that object and I get into anxiety. Let me withdraw my mind instead of fighting with the object. Study myself. I remind myself that I am of the nature of real self and study these principles, followed by the meditation on the real self. So, what happens? So Patanjali says Samadhi Bhavanartha Klesh Tanu Karanarthascha. So, by regularly practicing means maintaining that routine by disciplining and education of the mind, self study, and practice of meditation. So, what happens? So, when we continue the practice, the first thing that the master says, we succeed in meditation. Now, if I'm in a meditative state while thinking, speaking, and acting, it brings an end to the suffering. What is that suffering? Anxiety, insecurity, duality, conflict that does not enter into the mind. But we need to do a regular practice. So, one word, then what exactly is the suffering in life? So, suffering, we find the immediate cause. Take one example. We were just talking about COVID-19, the symptoms. So, symptoms is the immediate cause that I recognize in the body. Oh, there is a headache, there is a pain, shivering. We were just talking about it. Now, we do not want to know the ultimate cause of this suffering. What is the ultimate cause? What is the second cause? Symptoms are effects. But what is the cause of this suffering? We never become aware. So, what is the cause of this suffering? My body is constantly changing. I have no choice for the bodies to stop aging process. No chance. I have no choice to keep the body 100% healthy 24 by 7. Can we find any person in the world who has never become sick? It is a dynamic state. Sickness and the health are constantly changing. First point. Now, you see, we are going to find the ultimate cause. So, if the body is constantly changing, I have no control over the aging process. I have no control over the birth and the death. What should I do? What should I do? I should recognize that am I the body or I am not the body? So the first master says, I have to secondary cause when I am not the body, that is why I am not able to control. That is why I do not have a choice over the body. Do you see the truth into it? I don't. Body is given to me like a car, like an instrument. When the car breaks down, what about this body? Oh, so it means I am not the body. Yes, I am not the body. So when I find the second cause that I am not the body, then why should I get worried? At the same time, I should keep a good care of the body, like a caretaker. But I should not attach myself to the body that I am the body. So when there is a pain, then I am in the pain. But now, when I am not the body, I know it. So there is a pain, so there is a remedy. There is a suffering in the body, there is a remedy. But why I do not know? As long as I do not recognize and realize that I am not the body, means I am ignorant, means I do not know that I am not the body. This is what is called as ignorance. And the ignorance in America, there is a famous proverb, ignorance is bliss. Because I do not know, I'm going to suffer. But what in yoga we say, ignorance is suffering. I must get the right knowledge. See that? I must get the right knowledge. So now I understand that I am not the body. So what will happen? The second cause. What happens when I'm ignorant that I am the body? I build an ego over the body. One of my masters used to say that we should remove the mirror before the in front of the wash basin. We could save water because we constantly looking our image of the body there. So it means that when I identify myself with the body, that ego starts building up. What is that ego? That I am the body. So when the body is suffering, I am suffering. So now this body likes something, dislikes something. So the third and the fourth cause comes raga and the dvesha, the attachment and detachment. And the fifth cause of the ignorance is we say abhinivesh. The body totally sits in the body. No, the mind totally sits in the body. Say if any stranger knocks the door and he says, "Okay, can I see your house?" You say, "Come on," and then he doesn't want to leave. A stranger. Same thing happens to the mind. That mind totally sits in the body, doesn't want to leave and claim that I am the body, and we continue to suffer. That is why we need to practice Kriya Yoga. Avidya, Asmita, Rag, Dvesh, Abhinivesh, Panchaklesha. Five layers that causes the suffering. First is ignorance. Second, from the ignorance causes the ego. Ego means that I am the body. Third and the fourth, attachment and detachment, and the fifth is the mind sits in the body completely. Mind doesn't want to leave. And we know 100% when a person dies, we say that person has left. Come on, where he is left, his body is there. His body is there. Where he has left and who has left? So, out of the ignorance, we claim that I am the body, but the fact remains that I am not the body. So, that begins the search. If I am not the body, then who am I? We have already understood that we are the real self. What is that? Is the real self is in the heaven? No. It is deep within us, behind that ego and the mind. It is deep behind us. It is deep behind the mind. And that is where the practice of meditation comes. See that? So it is basically yoga is a way of life, the journey to find the permanent peace and happiness, love and wisdom, which is already there within all of us. So that is why yoga is not, sitting, doing a headstand pose and demonstrating. No, no, yoga has nothing to do with that. Yoga has to do with that inner search. Who am I? To bring an end to the suffering and awakening to the inner peace and happiness. This is what yoga takes us. Let us start our journey, our practice. Eyes are